Hello, my name is Neil O'Brien and welcome to the video called Bounce Fitness, or the one about resilience. I often like to start on the topic of resilience, to start an event or a talk or a session on resilience, which some people find a bit odd, because they would feel that resilience is something that you do after there's a setback or a disappointment, like in response to stuff. And that's certainly one type of resilience. But there are actually two forms of resilience, and the second one is even more important, and I'll get to that in a moment. But back to the recovery from a setback or a disappointment, that type of I call that survival resilience. For 30 years in my coaching practice, I've asked people from the worlds of business, sport, art, culture, how do they recover from a major setback? Or tell me a major setback or disappointment you've had, and what did you do to recover from that? And despite the diversity of their backgrounds, they all said exactly the same thing. It's almost like they copied the answer from each other. They said, well, Neil, what could I do? My confidence is gone, my self-belief is gone, I know I need to do something. So they all said that the secret to resilience for them is they just went right back to basics. They went right back to the basics of whatever it is their particular area was in and whatever area that crisis was in. So it turns out that world-class resilience and recoveries from setback is how good are you at doing the basics of the thing that you've had the setback in. Now, if we can ignore like global recessions and global pandemics for a moment, there's one other element to this. And that is that very often in the setbacks or disappointments, we kind of contributed to it a little bit ourselves too. And it turns out that how we do that is we ignore the basics. So for example, ignore the basics of good health for you, and you will have a crisis to deal with. And to fix that crisis, you'll have to go back to the very basics that you'd stopped doing at some point. So world-class recovery from setback or disappointment is how good are you at the basics of the area that we're talking about. But hold on though, I've said at the start, there's a second form of resilience, and that's strategic resilience. Because if you go to the opposite end of performance, it turns out that the world's best in business, sport, arts, culture are the best because their basics are better than anybody else. So world-class basics that are never neglected are the hallmark of outstanding performance. More on that later in another video, but for today, your homework from me would be the following 4 areas. Have a think about health, relationship, work, and joy, and think about 2 things in each of those areas for you that are really basic, but really critical to getting those things working better. Health, relationship, work, and source of joy. Really basic things, 2 in each area, and that's going to be your focus after this video. Thank you.